All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back with another SoulCast, and as usual, making our way through the very small list we have left of characters that we have not yet done. So for this episode, we're talking about the strange Frenchman himself, Voldo. Probably the most interesting of all characters throughout this series. Very weird and almost horror movie-esque, really. But with that being said, I do want to introduce my guest for this one, and Kindu. What's going on, dude?
Nothing much. First off, I believe is Voldo is Italian, not French.
Oh, well, European,
I'm not.
whatever.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's the
They're
case.
all
Because his A grab is like he's twirling a pizza. You know how the Italians spin the pizzas on their hand. That's what his A grab looks like. So he's got to be
got to
Italian,
be Italian. Okay,
100%.
that
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
and that's really the only characteristic that kind of gives the clue that he is Italian. Nothing else about him looks Italian at all.
I'm gonna have to remember that so I don't mess that up. Although
Oh
it's
yeah.
all Europe.
Every time I do the A grab, I'm like, it's pizza time.
Okay. Well, with that, before we actually get into the Voldo discussion, since this is your first time on the podcast, just kind of give everyone a little bit of a brief, like history, a synopsis of, like where you started, where you're from, how you ended up with Voldo, and just kind of the Cliff Notes version of your fighting game.
Yeah. No. It's basically I used to go to the arcade every day, playing other video games. A friend of mine suggested Soul Calibur. I used to pass by it all the time, never paid any attention to it. But he convinced me, just to try the conquest mode. Go into one player mode. You don't have to go right into competing. Because you get thrashed on a brand new game, and that's discouraging. You always want to take it and have fun with it before you jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I played conquest mode, and I was looking through the characters, and I noticed all of them are pretty average. Your usual characters like the samurai, bow, staff, nunchucks, ninja, stuff like that. Typical. And I get the Voldo, and I've never seen anything like him before. I've never seen his weapons or anything, and I was like, this looks unique. I think this might be a little interesting to learn. So I picked him, and yeah, pretty much stuck with him ever since. And that's
Nice. So now I know you're from Florida, correct?
yeah.
Now, do you? I know Florida is a little spread out at times, depending on like the scene that you're talking about. Do you guys all
hmm
tend to play together, or like how does that usually work?
Yeah. Well, Orlando's a big city in itself. So there's like a north, south, east, and west, and southeast, northwest, etc. And that's pretty far spread out. It takes like maybe an hour to get from the east side to the west side, and north and south is like an hour and a half. Um, so it's a pretty far spread out, and most people in the community don't have vehicles. So I swear to God, the FGC should stand for fucking get a car, you know, because nobody has any transportation. So I'm usually, able to go pick people up or whatever. I'm always down for that, especially when it comes to Soul Calibur.
Mm.
But yeah, so far spread out, and honestly, Orlando's scene, the Soul Calibur, Soul Calibur 5, and actually since Soul Calibur 4 has been pretty thin. There's not very many people that do play in Orlando. But
Now, do you play with
the
any of I guess like the more well-known guys like Omega, Cab? Because I
mm,
can't remember
not
exactly.
as often as I would like. Like Cab lives like 3 hours away in Gainesville, so we don't get to see each other often, right? And I mean, we've played online a couple of times, but Jesus H Christ,
Oh,
bullshit after bullshit keeps happening, and it frustrates the hell out of you when you're at, trying your best and just some bullshit happens because of the lag. It's like, fuck this. So yeah, we just don't play. We want to be friends. So we don't play online together. But yeah.
so do you play online at all, or you're just like
Oh
fuck it?
yeah, that's all I play. That's all I play. I don't get offline play with Soul Calibur. It's been I haven't gotten it since Soul Calibur 3. Soul Calibur 4 was no way I could get offline unless it was a tournament.
Interesting.
Which is bad because Soul Calibur 4 online was ridiculous. There is so much lag in that game that was programmed that way. So there was nothing you could do about it, even if you had the best connection in the world. It was always going to lag, no matter what.
Well, I guess, if you don't have, like...
That throws off your offline game a lot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's used to doing stupid shit.
Although I guess, at least you guys are always on the same level, so to speak.
Right.
It's always a consistent amount of lag rather than being really jumpy.
Right. And there was a code that we tried to follow. I mean, cheap shit.
Don't grab too much.
Certain things, yeah. Don't attack at negative, Don't 2A and throw, which is a legitimate strategy, but online it's like super buff. So, yeah, there's little things like that we cut out of the gameplay just to make it a little more fun so we wouldn't kill each other. But there were assholes who didn't care. They were abusing the shit out of that.
Oh, yeah. Did you play to win? You play to win the game.
Yeah. I was down for that. I was cutthroat too, bro. I would mop the floor with those guys. It was fun.
So have you always been a Voldo specialist? Or
Yeah, I have. And yeah, it's basically just comes down to tricking your opponent. One thing that's really good about Voldo is his ability to knock you down and then keep knocking you down. I mean, once they get right back up, you have an advantage. You can choose to do a move that would knock them down again if you want, or or do. I mean, Voldo is very flexible. You don't have to stick to a certain rule set like with other characters, where some characters, you got to play safe with like BBs and AAs, like Pyrrha and with Voldo, I mean, you have the ability to just do whatever the hell you want, really, and it's a lot of fun because you get to create what you want to do in a combo or a sequence. When you have your frame advantage, because his moves have built-in evasive properties. So if you wait a little bit longer, the attack that you do could avoid their attack, and you would get a counter hit, thus getting more damage. You know what I mean? And Voldo's really strong at doing that. I mean, he's not good at stepping naturally, but the evasive properties in his moves definitely make up for that. A lot, actually, because a lot of his moves have some super tech crouching properties that people don't even recognize that it's possible. You just see random bullshit happen and you're like, oh my god. But I mean, only Voldo is capable of doing that because of how he was programmed in that, having the tech crouches in his moves and the sidestepping and then knocking them down. That's the best part. You knock them down and they stand up and you're like, hey, I have control right now.
I like how he always walks in place. I always thought that was funny. But if you just let him sit there, he doesn't go anywhere, but he's like walking.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's start from the beginning then, because I don't know a whole lot about Voldo, and just watching him play.
Not many people do. Yeah. That's great too.
Yeah,
take advantage of that.
Yeah, character knowledge is always a plus. But most characters, especially those who have stances, you start out at neutral, and then you find a way to get into your stance. But it's almost like for most characters, when they have a stance, the stance is specialized for certain situations. Whereas if you were to, when I watch Voldo play, if you were to consider his back turn, him being back turn as a stance, he's almost always in stance. 99% of the stance, 99% of the time, he's always in a stance of some sort. So if I'm trying to pick up this character, for instance, where do I start? Because I obviously probably don't want to be in neutral too much, facing them. It doesn't look like, or maybe I'm wrong.
Perfectly fine. Oh no. Really, Voldo is strong both front and back. I mean, he's got combos that will go over 70 damage in both stances. So, I mean, they're both very well utilized. There's a couple of things that make him a little stronger in blind stance. The fact that he is able to quick step G, like he can cancel his quick step while in blind stance. There used to be a glitch in the game where everybody could do that, right? You remember?
Yeah,
And
2G.
they patched it. However, Voldo slipped through the cracks when he's in blind stance, so he's still able to do that while he's in blind stance. Um, and that comes in really handy, you know. That's why I feel, you know, he is a little bit stronger in blind stance because of those things. But yeah, and blind stance while rising B is like the lead off to a big damage combo with him. And yeah, so I mean he's probably, yeah, his most damaging combo is out of blind stance. So yeah, he is definitely a little bit stronger in there. But really, all you would, I mean, if you're new to Voldo and you want to learn him, um, stick to the basics, bread and butter combos, stuff that you would be using a lot during the match. You want to practice them. Make sure you can't miss them. I mean, there's a saying that I live by. You know, if you want to learn something, do it until you do it. But if you want to master something, do it until you can't do it wrong. You know, so you just keep practicing and over and over the same bread and butter. You know, like his 1K hold, which goes into blind stance, and then you do 2B plus K, which goes into his mantis crawl. It's a mantis crawl attack. It actually hits grounded and mid, and then that keeps him locked down long enough to where you're able to connect a mantis crawl K, which is a little, you know, backflip kick that does damage. And that's basic bread and butter. That 1K hold, tech crouches. So if you like anticipate they're gonna throw you or do an AA or something, bam, throw that out there. It'll go right under it. You'll punish and get nice damage, and they'll be knocked down. So yeah, you can knock him. You know, play that game that he's so good at when once you knock him down. Um, his throws throw a lot with Voldo. Like he's the creepy fondler. Like my friend over in Peru. I can't even pronounce his name. I think it's Rodrigo something or other. Anyways, yeah, he played Voldo and they call him the fondler because he throws a lot. And I had the privilege of playing with him a month or so ago, and he indeed threw me a lot. And uh, I was anticipating it, but the way he was the way he was using it was just so clever that I had to try and break him. But he was mixing them up too well so that I wasn't able to. And it was a lot of mixing up the throws too, because Voldo has different types of grabs, and when he's in blind stance, those grabs in blind stance are probably, I would say, the best grabs in the game. They actually sidestep. It's I don't know who thought of that, but it was. I mean, it if you yeah, I don't know, but that built-in sidestep off of that grab, it throws people off so much because for one, it's a different animation than what you're normally used to seeing when you see a grab, right? Like normally they just stick their hands out there. You can duck that on reaction, but those blind stance grabs, he like spins around. You know, they're not used to seeing that crap. So like, oh shit, he's gonna do a mid or an attack. I better stand up. You know,
Now I
and they'll
noticed
get hit by it.
that it goes to the right. Does it always go to the right, or can you?
Yep.
Okay.
No, you can't switch it.
Okay.
Always goes in that direction.
So do you? I take it.
And it's to the left, actually. I think. Right.
To his right. So, well, I guess they're left. Either way, but
I thought it was his.
when you do that, do you usually like or do you ever mess around with like sidestepping first and then doing the grab to try to get like an
Yeah.
extra
Oh
boost?
yeah. Like I'll do 2-2 A plus B. His little dance thing, and you can cancel the grab into that. Blind stance. You time it to where he's back turned, and then you do grab, and he'll spin around even further. So you get like a little double extra step out of that.
So
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, so what is 2-2 A plus B? Does it actually have a move that comes out of it, or
No, it's just an evasive move that you can cancel with attacks. I mean, that's really all it is. Another cool thing that somebody showed me, that my friend from Peru, uh, do 2-2 A plus B, and then instantly do 2-3-6 right afterwards, and then look which direction Voldo goes in when he does Cagliostro Rush.
he runs away?
Yeah, he goes away. You can't do that normally. You can't go into blind stance and then do 2-3-6. He'll go towards the person. So there's no way to make him Cagliostro Rush away except for that.
Interesting. That is.
Yeah. So those when you're learning Voldo, that stuff obviously is going to come later, but and you'll learn that stuff on your own too. I mean, if you really start getting interested in the character to where you want to go deeper with how you want to apply these moves that you're learning and stuff, that you know play against people. Like, don't do it against the computer. The computer doesn't. They don't follow patterns or anything. They're going to counter whatever you do, but the human element allows you a little more leeway in applying because they have patterns of their own, and it allows you more chances to mix them up because they're not going to have any idea what you're doing because they have certain ways that they're going to react after they get hit by something. And if you're paying attention to that, you obviously going to use it to your advantage, which is when it comes in to the sense of after you knock them down, you want to keep knocking them down after that. You get into a rhythm of how people react after getting hurt by certain things. Like if you get hit by blind stance 2A plus B, which knocks them down and you're right in their face pretty much, if you did while rising B right afterwards, they would have to block it. I don't think they can roll. It would hit them either way. So you can force them to stand up, or scare them into standing up without even doing the move. After they get hit by blind stance 2A plus B, they're gonna stand up naturally. If they think you're gonna do the while rising B. So you can make them stand up and then do a grab or something, or do another blind stance 2A plus B, to try and knock them back down, or 2K, something simple like that, or whatever. Because even when Voldo's at disadvantage, he's got the advantage because his moves can evade your opponent's next attack, and that's how he was designed. Really, he was designed to attack at disadvantage. That's why most of his moves are kind of unsafe.
That was actually going to be my next sort of topic, question, whatever. Is that, like, let's say that you're having troubles playing against Voldo. Now, it sounds like exactly like what you just said, where he's designed to be at a disadvantage and still be able to do stuff. So what do you do against it? Like, where are the openings?
Well, for one thing, you want to use a vertical attack that hits grounded. All right? That's very important. Most of the time, it's like people's 2B or something like that. Or even better, like Mitsurugi has tons of them. 3B, 1B, shit like that. Yeah. And when you anticipate Voldo is going to do something crazy like that, stick that move out there. It'll stuff him no matter what he does. Voldo can't tech crouch a move that hits grounded. All right? He can tech crouch practically everything else. So you want to find a move that'll hit him when he's while he's on the ground, because another thing about Voldo too, he fights off the ground a lot. Like a lot of his moves make him recover on the ground. And that, I mean, yeah, you can trick people too, because when he's lying down, you can actually, some instances do blind stance moves getting up, which can throw your opponent off. Like you can get up and then do a blind stance grab, which would sidestep them. So if they go to do like like I said, a 2B or something to hit him while he's on the ground, Voldo can, if he has enough advantage, he can just press G plus B and he'll stand up and spin right around it, and maybe sometimes even get a back grab.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you
So
have That's interesting. Can he do the blind stance grabs like that from grounded? So
yep,
like you can get up into sort of like an
and right
instant
into it.
sidestep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. You know how I was saying you do the 2B
Uh-huh.
to stop him? The 2B hits grounded.
Mhm.
So if like Voldo anticipates that and he's at enough of an advantage, he can G plus B it while on the ground and then step around it and then sometimes get a back throw. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like he'll get up, step around it before the person's 2B comes out, and then he'll grab him out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so let me ask you this then. So it
yeah,
sounds like, I mean, just looking through his move list a little bit and the way that you describe his moves, it sounds like it's sort of like for you as a player, like everyone's going to play this character different. Like it's just kind of
yeah,
whatever you feel like doing, you can kind of do.
right,
So when you're trying to
exactly.
teach somebody how to do that, like it's kind of hard to say, well, I'm going to teach you to do this, but at the same time do whatever you want. Like how, like
Well,
what are the steps to kind of gauging what
yeah.
like the feel of these moves?
Yeah, I understand because I mean Voldo, what you use with Voldo doesn't really apply to other characters too well.
Hmm.
I mean, other characters have super tech crouching moves and stuff like that, but they're very few. They don't have like 4 or 5 or 6 of them like Voldo
Hmm.
has. So you can't play other characters like you use Voldo. You have to have a different mindset. Essentially what I try to do in my matches are put myself in those situations where we're at neutral
Hmm.
and find out how long it takes before my opponent wants to press a button, and then try and counter it, you know? So, like for instance, they run up and BB me or something and I block it. They're gonna think they're at disadvantage, so they're gonna block afterwards, right? And I'm like, well, all right, well, I wanna find out how long this guy will take before he gets anxious enough to where he wants to press a button. So I'll just block while he's blocking and wait. And then when he goes to attack, I'm like, all right, it took him this long to attack. The next time we go into a situation like that, I'll know exactly how long before he gets anxious enough to where he wants to attack, and I'll counter it with something, and then I basically go from there. And once I knock him down, it's playtime.
Gotcha. That is a very interesting way to go about it because I know that most people.
It's all about maintaining the momentum, really, with him.
Yeah, because I know like when most people go into a match for your standard character, you put your, just like you said, I mean you put your opponent in these situations and see how they react, but it's usually in a very different perspective. Like you want to see what they do, and
Yeah.
then you respond to that. Whereas you're actually looking at how long it takes them to
Mhm.
respond. You're not really interested in the response itself. You're
No,
just
not exactly, because it's all based by frames at that point. Like, I mean, I'm gonna base it on their fastest attack, what I want to do. I want to beat their fastest attack. So it's usually like 12 or 14 frames, something like that. And yeah, and most of the time, we're both facing each other like that. I'll do a 3A, just in case they want to step instead of attacking. That puts myself at a disadvantage too, by the way. They can actually punish the 3A on block at that range, with something like BB. I mean, he's like at negative 14 or 15 or something like that after 3A. But that's the great thing about it, though. Most people, when you put them in that anxious situation where they fucking want to do something, they're not prepared to punish after, So when you do the 3A, either it'll hit them on the counter hit because they stepped, they'll block it, or it'll counter hit them because they attacked, whatever. If they block it, they're not going to punish it. That's for sure. I mean, I've tested that theory over and over and over again. They fucking never punish it, unless they're looking for it. Because there are fucking, like, people that are able to beat Voldo consistently have put in work. They've tested the frames. They found out everything they can punish, and are able to recognize it when it comes up in a match, and then punish it when they see it. There are people like that out there that put that, because if it's a weakness of yours, if Voldo is beating you up, you want to learn, figure out what you need to do to stop it. So yeah, they do that, and it makes I love playing against them because it makes makes me go deeper into what I need to do in order to win. But it doesn't happen too often.
I just thought about this randomly, but you mentioned, how 3A is negative 14, negative 15, whatever, and then they can punish it. Now, as far as I'm aware, unless it's a launcher, every punisher that's out there is at least in those lower frame ratings. They're not going to guarantee another hit. So they'll mostly leave you in like that +6 to +9 at range. Now, as the Voldo player, like, let's say somebody punishes you for that, so you're at -6 to 9 or whatever it may be. They didn't get a knockdown. Is that like a good situation for you? Like, you're just pressing buttons?
No, well, if you're in blind stance and that happens, that's great, because he has his blind stance B+K auto GI, which is perfect for situations like that. Like after they hit you out of something, and they have frame advantage. In most cases, most people would do like a BB or like a 3B or something, just something to keep the pressure on you. And Voldo is able to counter it with the blind stance B+K auto GI, and it knocks down and you get a guaranteed 2A plus B afterwards. So it's a nice chunk of damage when you do get that move, and setting it up is very simple. All you gotta do is use it at negative, honestly. Like with Voldo, you gotta take risks. You have to. And by risks, I mean like calculated risks, not just randomly doing whatever, but calculated risks. Like, hey, when I go into blind stance, this guy wants to 3K me right away. So I'm gonna let him do that. I'm gonna go into blind stance. He's gonna 3K me. I'm gonna let it hit me, and then afterwards, I'm gonna B+K, blind stance B+K, and try and auto GI their next attack.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So I'll sometimes get hit by something just in order to set up something else. There's a good way to say it too. Like, Patroclus's 6BBB series.
Yeah.
The first two are guaranteed if the first one hits, and the 3 are only guaranteed on counter. Like Voldo, like I was saying with his super tech crouching moves, I can actually get myself hit on counter hit with the 6B, duck the next B, and block the third B, and then be able to punish with 6B Brave Edge. But I mean, it's a little tricky to do, obviously. But if it's there, I can do it, But just little things like that, you get hit by something so you can set up something else, and you gotta take slight risks, like calculated risks.
That's so interesting to me, because like most people, I feel when they play the game, like you're always gonna have tech crouch or evasive stuff, and people normally recognize that, like, okay, he did some sort of evasion move and he hit me. But like with Voldo, it feels like most people will look at it and be like, "Man, why is he pressing buttons? He needs to stop pressing buttons. Like doesn't he know he's at negative a billion?" But it seems like you just throw that out the window. Like it doesn't matter at all as you're playing, which is a very weird concept. I think for most people,
it's a Hail Mary sometimes, you know, but it's fun though. That's all it's about. It's just having fun. And the only thing I don't like about Soul Calibur 5 Voldo is they took a lot of his moves away. So he's not as flexible as he once used to be. He doesn't have all those moves that he can mix up and hit you with in certain combos. He's got his combos, that's it. You can't do anything else. Stick to those combos, that's it. But like in other Soul Caliburs, when he had these expansive moves lists, he could do different stuff in his combos and still do around the same damage and have good wake ups, you know? So it was worth doing sometimes. But not in this game.
Oh, interesting. But I take it that his normal B&Bs give him like decent wake up and Oki though. I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I call them vortexes, but you know, the Voldo vortex, but they're really not. Like after in blind stance it works great too, because like I was saying, he has the threat of the wall rising B, and that's once you put him in after you knock him down with like a 2A plus B or a Manus Crawl do P plus K or something like that. Right, you have so much advantage afterwards that you could do, you know, a 2K, a Wall Rising B, or I mean, if even if you're ambitious enough and want to take a little bit of a risk, because they could punish it. But if, you know, most of the time they would just block it. You could do blind stance 2B plus K and go into Manus Crawl, and then do like either Manus Crawl 6/6 B plus K to, you know, hit them low and then bounce them up into the air. Or you could do like a Mantis Crawl K if you think they'll duck. You know, something silly like that. Which, you know, they can react to that and stand up and block it. But after they get hit by Mantis Crawl K, they get forced into crouch. And that kind of freaks people out. You know, they can end up making big mistakes there. You know, like naturally they want to do a 2A when they're in crouch, you know? So you can anticipate that and then do like a blind stance 2B, or I mean, blind stance 8BK or blind stance 4B and maybe get a counter hit, which would do a big crumple stun and you can do a nice damaging combo afterwards. Or yeah, I mean that's basically it. There's certain things that he's can do to keep the opponent blocking after they get up instead of attacking, because if they attack they're gonna get hit and they're gonna get a combo done to them afterwards too. So
now,
they're gonna learn or die.
Real quick, when it comes to the blind stance, now I know, or at least I'm pretty sure that for Mantis, you have to do a move to get into it. Do you have to do that for blind stance, or does he have a command?
No, yeah, you have to do an attack that recovers
in blind stance.
Yeah. Although he does have a couple of glitches which allow him to get into blind stance through Cagliostro Rush. But that's
applicable,
a glitch, you know? Yes, very applicable as a matter of fact. When you do the normal 2-3-6 input, you tech crouch on frame 4, I believe. However, when you do this instant Cagliostro Rush glitch, you tech crouch on frame 2. So you can actually do that move during certain strings and tech crouch the high and punish with like a blind stance while rising B. So, and that's actually the secret shit that I was gonna want to tell you. You know, send you videos of, which I gotta try and make. I mean, I already got it made, but I gotta render it. You know, put it together.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, you can certain shit like Tira's what is it, 3A Brave Edge, or 3A Brave Edge. You can tech crouch the third hit by doing the what is it? 4K instantly slide to B plus K, and he'll go into um, blind stance Cagliostro rush right away. Because you know how when you do 236 B plus K, he goes right into Cagliostro rush blind stance. If you do it the instant way, 2 frames, you know, and it tech crouches right under the third A, and she's still freaking swinging the thing around, and you can punish with the rising B afterwards. And there's other shit like that too. Like Zvi has a couple of things that you can do.
So now the is
I want to try Algol 6 BBB shit. That'd be sick.
the Cagliostro rush, the faster one, is it just doing 236 faster? Is that just how you get it?
No, it's a slide input. You're actually 4K is the move you do it off of. You do 4K and then slide instantly to like B plus K or A plus B or B plus G or A plus G. Make sure it's one of those. Don't try A plus K or don't try A plus K or A. Do or B. Do A plus B or B plus K or the throws. Those are the only 3 you do. And if you do 4K instantly slide to A plus B, you'll get 236 A plus B to come out right away without that little hesitation that you get when you do 236. He'll just go right into the volleyball dive right away.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like Aries showed me that, and I was like, this is very useful. So like I said, if you wanna learn something, just do it until you do it. But if you wanna master it, I practice the hell out of that crap, But this tournament scene down here is dead, so I don't really do it. But I do it online a lot. It's a lot of fun. I have fun.
Good old online. All right, well let's just because we've kind of been bouncing around his mood list a little bit. Let's talk about stuff that is fairly consistent throughout. Like just as an example, like punishing. Now he doesn't seem like he'd probably be the best punisher because he's I guess a little on the slow side, because a lot of his stuff has that built-in evasion, so there's no need for him to be really fast.
Like honestly, if he had one extra frame taken away from his 666B, he would probably be the best punisher. Because 666B is I-16, and it doesn't really punish shit. I mean, if you were able to punish with 666B an attack that they did, they're an idiot for using it, period, to begin with. So, I mean, you're not going to have much of a problem beating that person. But if it was 15, if it was I-15, yeah, dude, he would be doing some damage.
So 666B? Like...
666B. Yeah.
How do you even do that? Like
just 3 forwards and a B. You can even do it off guard. Like you don't have to 8-way run it. Hold guard and just keep mashing forward, and then just let go of guard and hit B. And you'll get it. You can do it. Like I'll sit there in a match and I'm holding guard and I'm just mashing forward. While I'm at neutral, like I'm saying, waiting for them to get ready to attack. And then I'll let go of my G and hit B when I think they're getting ready to attack and stun them with that. You can do it right off guard.
It's because I keep getting 6-6B.
Yeah, you're not doing it right then.
Oh, I see. It's okay. He does it's 6-6B, but he does it with the other elbow. Okay.
Elbow. Yeah, and it stuns.
I was doing the right
so
one.
You were probably doing it. Okay.
I was doing it, but thought it was 6-6B. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, in Soul Calibur 4, it flashed white when you did it right.
Okay.
So
okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Okay, and he gives that stun, so that's...
Yeah, and then that you can do either another 6-6B or a 6-6B Brave Edge. And then after that, you can either do a tech crouch, a tech trap with 4-4 A plus B, or you can go for a guaranteed damage by doing either another 6-6B Brave Edge or a 6-6-6B or even a critical edge. if you have the meter and are
Now, does 666B have a Brave Edge version like 66B?
no,
No.
no. Now, although one thing cool about 666B, if you just launch him with 1K without holding K, so he recovers in front stance, and it launches him instead of stunning him, you just do 1K and it'll pop him up into the air. If you do 666B for the juggle, they'll go flying backwards. But if you just do 66B, they'll kind of just like blah, tumble. Nothing special. So I get people with that all the time with ring outs. I'll do the 1K and I'll do 666B. And if they're holding back or up back or something like that, they'll just go flying out before they even have a chance to realize what the hell happened.
Yeah, I know there's a few characters that have some goofy stuff like that
Yeah.
where you can take advantage of the air control.
Yeah. That's so funny. It makes me laugh when I do that every time.
Now, does it only do the pop away if they're trying to air control?
It sends them a nice distance normally,
Mm-hmm.
so I still use it to try to ring them out regardless, if I don't think they're going to do it. But yeah, it has a nice pushback on it regardless of them air controlling.
Yeah, I really like that you can buffer those forwards out of like anything.
Yeah, you hold guard and do it. It's just like doing any other special move
Yeah.
in the game. As long as it's not an 8-way run. That's what's cool about it, though. Even though it's forward, 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 you would think you'd have to be an 8-way run to do it.
Mm.
But nope, you can do it after guard.
Nice. Now, does he have any other really, aside from like basic AA, is there any other Punisher that you should be using or what have you?
It depends. Like if you duck their attack and you're gonna punish with a full crouch move, do full crouch 3B. Knocks them down. It pushes them back away. So what I do right after that, and you can see it all the time, every single time I hit him with a full crouch 3B, it recovers in blind stance. I always jump over towards them right away. That way it puts me right back in their face before they are able to get up, so I have time to do a mix-up still. I can do like a 2A plus B or a while rising B or something. I have plenty of time to still do that after a full crouch 3B, just by jumping towards them. If you don't jump towards them, you can't do anything afterwards. They're too far away, and you don't have enough time to get up there in blind stance.
Huh. Now, when you say jump, you're just talking like 9G?
Yep, 9G. Like after you hit him with full crouch 3B, 9G, and then instantly do like a 2A plus B or, instantly while rising B or something. I mean, it's got to be instant because you don't have any frames to mess around there in that situation. So you want to do your mix-up right away.
Gotcha. Interesting. So for the most part, you're not really a whole like focusing on punishing at all. You're just kind of going into your mix-up
game. Not
game.
anymore. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Just a mix-up game. Knock them down.
Gotcha.
Just like bowling.
Now, do you mostly focus on knockdowns or do you poke at all?
Yeah, it depends who I'm fighting. Like Mitsurugi, you have to poke him. I don't want to take risks against Mitsurugi because, like I was saying, he has so many attacks that knock Voldo out of those evasive moves. So I have to play it safe. I have to play the poke game.
Okay, so run us through like some of the best pokes that you.
The best pokes. I love 22A or 88A. That on hit, it has great tech crouching. It's got nice range, and if it hits them, it turns them sideways and sometimes backwards, so you have a huge advantage on hit. And of course, full crouch 3B, which is unsafe though, so use it sparingly. Like if they block it, they can get a launcher off, so be careful with that move.
That's hella range though.
I like 6A, BA. If you hold the last A, he'll recover in blind stance. The last hit is mid too. Sometimes people will think it's a high and try to duck it, and it knocks down. The last hit knocks down on hit too, so that's a good thing as well. If they anticipate it, if they think it's a high and they try to duck it, you get a good mix up afterwards.
Yeah, that would be my first reaction.
And it's
is to think that
and
was
it's
high.
yeah, exactly, and it's guaranteed on counter hit too. That's a bonus. Honestly, hit the best way to punish with Voldo, if you duck a throw or a high or something like that, if you have the time, do while rising AA, and then follow it up with either a 666B or a 66B Brave Edge. That's the best punisher you get off of ducking a high while in front stance. But
okay, so since
poking's 2A, 2K. His 2K's got good range.
Yeah, it does. Holy shit.
1A is nice.
His 2A looks like it has pretty good range.
Yeah, but it's weird sometimes. I've gotten it stepped a bit. It's weird. Like, Voldo is just weird sometimes. He's got a lot of glitches in this game that frustrate me to death. Besides all of the cool glitches that he's got some messed up glitches that just annoy me to death. I'll try to go, like if you do 8 A plus K, that little sway move that he does where he moves to the side a little bit. If you do 8 K slide A or A slide K, he'll do it down instead. So, I mean, and that happens with other moves too. Even tech rolling. Like, there are tons of times where I've wanted to tech roll down away from the ring edge, and it's tech rolled up instead towards the ring edge because of, I don't know how it happens, or I know it's got to have something to do with his blind stance, and the game not being able to register it properly. That's why that happens. But I can understand if it was forward and backwards, but not up and down. Why would it be up and down? Up and down never changes. It's always up and down. But yet in this game, it's affected. So I mean, there's glitches in here that frustrate me with him to no end. But that's every game. He has glitches like that in every game.
Yeah, just the nature.
Such a unique fighting style.
Yeah,
such a unique fighting style. I love Voldo.
So one thing I did want to ask about, just because we haven't really talked about it much, his like Brave Edges and meter management and all of that. Now the only Brave Edge, actually that's not true. I was going to say the only one we've mentioned so far is 66B Brave Edge, but I think you what was it?
He's got others.
6B Brave Edge. That's the other.
Yeah, 6B Brave Edge and Landfish B Brave Edge. They have their uses. Obviously 66B Brave Edge is useful in combos. You don't want to just throw it out there. I hate when people do that. They do it with Astaroth. They'll do 66K Bull Rush Brave Edge, while they're at neutral. What the hell are you doing that for? You're not chip damaging me. This ain't Street Fighter, I don't get chip damage for blocking shit. And I know how soon this attack is going to come too, so I'm going to just guard it and punish you. Don't do that with Voldo's 66B Brave Edge, please. Don't. Use it in combos only, and that's it. His 6B Brave Edge, 6B is what, I-14, so it's a punisher. You can actually punish Zhanghua's AAB with 6B Brave Edge, or Natsu's AAB, you can punish that with 6B Brave Edge too. And his Landfish B Brave Edge, it stuns if it hits them while they're lying on the ground, or it just says Landfish B stuns while they're lying on the ground. So you're gonna get guaranteed Landfish B right afterwards. Now, if you were to do Landfish B Brave Edge, you would turn a 2-hit combo into a 6-hit combo if you did back to back. The first 3 you would do would stun them, and then you would get a guaranteed 3 more after that with another Brave Edge if you had the meter. So, use it like that. It's also +8 on block. So you get a mix-up after that. You can either do a Landfish A or a Landfish B or a Landfish K or whatever. And honestly, you know how I'm saying I use Voldo anticipating what the opponent's going to do? Use the meter for GI. He has got an amazing post-GI game with 666B right away. You can go into a nice damaging combo right after that if you don't think they're going to GI, or re-GI rather. Or if you think they're going to re-GI, do 6A plus B hold, do 6A plus B hold only. Don't do anything else. And you get the same amount of damage as the 6-6B combo. So he's got great post GI game. Like that's another strength of his too that he's always had because of the delay and the strength of his moves, his combos and stuff. He's got great post GI. So take advantage of that. With the meter, use the meter to GI. I love GIing and then critical edging right away. Critical edge does 100 damage every time. Sometimes it seems like it does a hell of a lot more too, but I haven't actually gotten documentation on how much damage it does. But sometimes it looks like it does like 130. So yeah, definitely GI. His critical edge as a good punisher. If you step something or like I'm saying, you anticipate them attacking, you can throw a critical edge out there to counter them instead of a 666B. It's 1 frame slower though. It's I-17, so you gotta take that into consideration.
So your recommendation is outside of guaranteed situations, just save that for GI. Pretty much save your meter for GI.
Yeah, and critical edge. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I guess, hey, that's a pretty simple approach. It's like if you can't use the meter to guarantee yourself damage, don't use it. And just save it.
Yep.
Interesting. So, along those same lines, because you mentioned the, not.
Oh, and actually, let me say I add something else about 6B Brave Edge too.
Okay.
The second hit guard break, so you recover in blind stance crouching at frame advantage. That's good for Voldo too. So you could use 6B on block, 6B Brave Edge on block. I haven't really had too many people just guarding the second hit of that one because you don't see it too often. But I'm sure there's people out there that do know how to do it. But you don't see it too often, so you normally get frame advantage when you use that move. So it's nice to do it on block sometimes if you want. You want a free mix-up, that's the way to do it right there.
Well, I'm glad that you said that was actually going to be my next question or segue, is his guard break game. Now, that move, as you just mentioned, does guard break. Do you focus on that at all?
No.
Or? Okay.
Nah, not really. He doesn't have the greatest guard breaks. They don't put him at a huge advantage, if any at all. I think the only one that does. Does his 6-6B Brave Edge have a guard break on it? I think it does, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's probably +8. And same with his 6B Brave Edge. I think it's either +8 or +10. His full crouch 3A plus B, I don't think that's at frame advantage. However, you're at a super slight disadvantage, like maybe -1 or -2. And in those situations, I kind of tend to maybe try to grab them. Because if they try to do an attack, you can sometimes grab them out of it before it comes out. And otherwise, what would I do? I do a 1K right afterwards. If they try to AA you, you'll tech crouch under it. I think. Something like that. I mean, I'll either anticipate. I think it does it over throws for sure. I'm not sure about the AAs. They might be a little too fast, depending on
Now, because he's sort of a little on the slower side, is it beneficial to just guard with him?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, that helps out. I mean, yeah, it can. It definitely turns his 666B into like an I-12 or something like that. I mean, it can make certain things punishable, but that is so hard to do for me. Like just guarding, then go into 666B.
Well, that's why I was
just
a little surprised you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a clutch ass 666.
Right. So I normally do 1K. I go for the 1K hold combos. I'll go into 1K, hold it, and that goes into blind stance and stuns them. And then you can do blind stance 2B plus K, which goes into Mantis Crawl and hits mid, and then do the Mantis Crawl kick right afterwards for nice damage. I mean, I think it's about the same as 666B combo without Brave Edge. But you can teach yourself to do just guarding into 666B. Like, I mean, all I gotta do is go into training mode and practice it, for a few hours, and I would teach myself to do that instead. And it's not that hard to learn. But yeah, it's just a reaction thing, You kind of have to follow through with it. You're not going to be sure if you're just guarding before you start inputting the move or not. You're going to input the move before you know you're just guarding, just so it's there in case you do just guard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't work, you go to plan B.
All right. So let's I do want to go back to his grabs a little bit, because we haven't really. I mean, we talked about him a little bit, but I'm just since he has like 10
pizza time.
Yeah, he has like 10 different grab animations. So
yeah,
like what are like your standard? I don't even know the best way to ask.
His B grab is, I think, the strongest, just normally. Mm-hmm. And his A grab has the potential to ring out to his left. I believe, yeah. Yeah, to the left. So, I mean, yeah, use them wisely. Obviously, his side grab one of his side grabs can ring out. I think it's the right side.
Now, those don't change, right? It's the grab animation is always based on the side that you grab, not what grab you do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except
I thought it was like Tekken in that.
Yeah, Voldo's a little weird. Like, okay, you're in training mode with him right now, right? Uh-huh. All right, like do his normal B grab.
Okay.
You see what it looks like?
Yeah.
All right. Now go into blind stance. And then do his B grab. But try to make it so it hits him in the front and not the side.
Yes.
So you don't get side grab. It's a completely different throw, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, he did.
But that's not the case with his G plus A grab. Like his G plus A grab is a pizza twirl, and in blind stance, G plus A is a pizza twirl. So he's got a different grab in blind stance with G plus B.
Is it?
I think it's the same amount of damage.
Yeah, it's a pizza grab. God, it's like so weird. Like because that sidestep, like it's hard for me to tell if I got a side grab.
Got a side grab.
Since I'm not used to the animation, so I'm like, wait, is that it? I don't know. I guess I could just look at damage because they all do more damage. But goofy. Okay, so just to kind of recap, because I can't remember if we addressed this, but after you land a grab, it looks like they all leave him, kind of right there, in their face for mix-up. So are you just doing your standard regular mix-ups, or is there anything like special, like tech roll or pick-up options or anything? Or I guess there's not.
It depends on honestly what combos you do. Like he's got certain flexibility. Like, but if you choose to do certain things, you give up a lot of damage. If you just stick to the bread and butters, that's the max damage. But if you want to divert off of that and do be a little fancy, maybe try to get a mix up, you can do 1K hold, and instead of doing blind stance 2B plus K and a Manus Crawl K, you do 1B hold, which will pick them up off the ground. And I think you'll be at plus 10, something like that. So you sacrifice the damage, but you get a huge mix-up opportunity right there, which ain't really huge because you're facing them. He's not too threatening with lows when he's facing them. That knock down at least. So you would either throw or 3BB or 1K or something like that. Just either play a high mid instead of a low mid. Play a high mid game after that pickup. And other things like what is another one? Like freaking while rising B, blind stance while rising B. Instead of doing 4K blind stance 4K launch into your juggle, 1B is guaranteed after blind stance while rising B if you want to use it there, but you're giving up a shit ton of damage, in order to do that. So it's not worth it unless you're trolling them. So yeah, and if they don't tech roll after getting hit by blind stance 6K, the booty bump, you can pick them up with 1B hold. Sometimes if they don't tech roll, it's guaranteed if they don't tech roll.
Now, are there any catches you can do with the tech roll? Like, does he have any beefy tech traps?
Yeah, he's got some nice tech traps. If you do 666B into 66B Brave Edge, you can tech trap with 4/4 A plus B. And that move does a shit ton of damage. It turns it into I think you add an extra 80 points overall to the whole combo, I think. Oh wait, no, not 80.
So 60.
It's like 60, something like that.
Still, that's quarter life bar.
And that catches all tech too.
Those are the best ones where I don't have to think.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, which way is he going to
throw it out right after your other attack.
Yeah.
You don't have to time it a second late or early or anything. You just do it right away. And if they tech, they eat it. But he does have tech traps that require a little bit of timing. Obviously, if you do 666B, you can do another 666B for tech trap if they roll at one side, but it's only one side, catch type thing. He's not really strong on tech crouches, but he has them. Tech traps rather, but he has them. This best one is the first one I just told you. He has another place where he can use that too, and I'm trying to remember it. I can't forget it. I can't remember it right off the top of my head because I don't really use it that much. But he has another instance where you can use that instead. But typically, I always go for the guaranteed damage. I don't like to play tech traps unless I see them tech trapping after everything, because that move is pretty unsafe. If they just lie there instead of getting up, you're spinning right around in their face, They're just like, hit me afterwards, and they're going to hit you hard. So, yeah, I don't like doing that.
Alright. Oh, I'm trying to think. Running out of questions. Oh, ring outs. I did want to ask about ring outs because you mentioned the 666B thing, but I know 66B Brave Edge can ring out.
Yeah.
Are there any other really, really useful ring outs?
236 A plus B, and as a matter of fact, like I was telling you with that instant Cagliostro rush glitch, where you do the 4K and then slide to A plus B, so you instantly do 236 A plus B. That's perfect for ringing out, on the fly. Hey, I'm stepping this way, bam, and I throw it out there real quick. Before they even realize that I'm trying to ring them out, it happens, like that. But his G plus A grab is good for ringing out. And also those can allow B plus G grabs to be free if you're in those situations where you're at the left side and they're like, oh, I'm fucking breaking eggs. I'm getting tired of getting wrung out by the pizza toss. So you get B grabs for free in those situations.
Mhm.
And definitely take advantage of that, you know? And they're like, oh, they keep breaking my G plus A grab here. I'm going to start getting the guaranteed damage. You know, don't keep trying to ring them out. I see people do that all the time too, and it pisses me off. Like, you could have just gotten free damage there if you did the other grab instead, you know? Think for a minute. But anyways, sorry about that. His what else has it got to rings out pretty well? Oh, his blind stance 6/6K is a nice ringing out. You can get it in a combo sometimes too, like when your opponent's back is to the edge, and you do a blind stance while rising A, that stuns on counter hit, and you can either launch them afterwards and then do a combo juggle, or you can just go instantly into the blind stance 6/6K and ring them out if they're right there. What else? He's got, like I was saying, the 1K into 6/6B straight ahead. Yeah, that one's funny. And I like doing A plus B, holding 3 to go into Cagliostro Rush, and then doing BB, and then holding 3 the entire time, so I keep going in Cagliostro Rush, and then after I hit him with the down B that stuns, doing A plus B, Cagliostro Rush A plus B right afterwards to ring him out. Because if you do like A plus B and then hold 3, you can do A plus B right afterwards too and ring them out before or during that stun. When you hit them with A plus B, they get a stun. It's kind of like while rising BB. It's kind of like the stun off of the second B on that. So you can do that too. Like you do A plus B, hold 3, and then do BB. And if that last B hits, you can do Cagliostro Rush A plus B right afterwards to ring them out. And I do that a lot on Wake Up too. Like if they think I'm gonna go low, because A plus B and 2A plus B at startup kind of look almost the same. So you can play a little bit of a game with that. If you have enough advantage, because it takes a while for those moves to come out. And that's the beautiful thing about Wake Ups. You can take slow moves and actually make them look faster based on how long they have to react when they're able to get up. You know what I mean? Because like after you knock them down, they can't get up right away in certain situations. The game just won't let them. They have to get up after a certain amount of frames pass. But if you do attack during those frames, it gives them a lot less time to react to it, because they can't input their move right away. They have to wait. So it can make a little certain moves a little faster, like A plus B or 2A plus B. So you can use those as a mix-up because of the way they start up. It doesn't give them much time to think, because they're on the ground. They're either going to get hit or block it. And if that hits, you get a free ring out, the A plus B. So when you're in that situation, I love doing that. And also running up at them while their back is to the edge. You could either do 6/6B Brave Edge. While you're running, all you have to do is just hit B and then do Brave Edge. Or you could do the K and slide and ring them out. That's just simple, basic stuff, But he's not as strong with ring outs as he is in other games. Because of all the moves that he lost. They took away a lot of his moves, so he doesn't have all those that he can ring out with now. But he's still a solid ring out. It's just the same stuff. So people are easy to are able to see it a lot easier, because it's it's the same stuff they see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, Well, I mean, I'm running out of questions, sort of, because like we've been going through, and I think we've talked about most areas that make up a character, but like he's so situational, it seems.
Hmm.
Like because all of his moves do different things, and just kind of depending on your preference, you can do 4 different things, and they can all work.
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, I guess like at this point, probably the best thing to do is just to throw it over to you. Like, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you
Yeah.
think is really important?
You wanna put together a game plan when you use Voldo. I mean, you can't play on the fly with them because when things hit, you have to follow up accordingly right away. Otherwise, you miss a perfect opportunity to continue the mix-ups. So when certain things hit, you have to know what to follow up with right then and there. You can't mess up or mess around. And if you hit him with a blind stance while rising B, you better damn sure launch him and go to the juggle right afterwards. Otherwise, you just missed a big damage. You missed out on big damage that could cause you to lose a round. Um, so when you hit your attacks, make sure you follow them up properly, and then have a plan afterwards. What are you gonna do after you do this combo? Find out what works best, and use that, you know, and um, and I mean just have fun. Use everything Valdo has. Use his A plus K crap that is useless, but I mean, I use it in matches, and you'd be surprised. Like, people don't even punish me while I'm doing that. So I'm able to do follow-ups that counter their stuff when they decide they can attack. Like, what the hell is he doing? He's dancing? Oh, shit, I can hit him. Nope, not anymore. So, I mean, yeah, just have fun. Do the dancing around and stuff. Cancel that into stuff. Um, yeah, do his evades. Go into land fish. Swim around. Have fun, man. Just yeah, be yourself. That's all.
Be yourself.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
do
funny.
whatever you want. But just make sure you follow up those combos. I mean, you got to make the damage.
Mhm.
That's where Voldo's strength are in his combos. They do so much damage. You'll hear that from everybody. Everybody from woes to the new guy. They're like, wow, that does a lot of damage.
Mhm.
It does so much damage, and they're easy to do. Simple. All it takes is a little bit of practice. But
All
yeah,
right.
and
Well, I mean, that sounds like a good place to end the character conversation. Have a game plan, practice. Seems to be pretty simple stuff. But I mean, he's a
yeah.
goofy character, that's for sure. You got to get used to it.
Well, I mean, when I saw him, I had never seen anything like that. I didn't even know those type of weapons existed. So I figured he was going to be kind of flexible in the sense to where he'd have the ability to attack at weird angles that other people aren't able to because they're limited by a sword, or a stick. It's just an extension of their limb. But the Voldo's weapons are actually his limbs, so he can actually bend them and twist them around in different ways that you can't do with other weapons. So it makes them a little more. That's why I expected when I first played him, and that didn't steer me wrong. That's exactly how he is. So when that's another thing that kept me playing him too. He makes sense. He just looks like he makes sense when you do an input. Like if you do like down A plus B, Voldo goes low. It just makes sense. It's not nothing stupid like you see in other fighting games. I'm not gonna mention. I don't even want to get into it. But you do an input and they just like freaking do backflips and shit. Like what the hell? That make no sense. But
I
like,
actually that's one of the appeals of me, not just for Calvert. Actually, kind of 3D games in general seem to have um, that logical like flow to the way that you input
mm-hmm,
stuff. Like
yeah,
Tekken is a great example. Like
yeah,
left punch controls your left arm, right punch
right,
controls your right arm,
exactly,
and then if you hit it down, chances are you're gonna do either a low or it's gonna
yeah,
be a downward swipe. Like it just makes
right,
sense. But
exactly, exactly.
Interesting.
Yep,
So,
that's exactly how I feel. I mean, it was, yeah, poetic. I mean, I love Soul Calibur. It's a beautiful game. All the characters are very well thought out and created to be, the typical samurai that you know watch in the movies, the ninja. I don't know. I've never seen no big titty ninja before, but whatever. It's a ninja. You get the idea. And
oh,
you
I'm
got
sure.
the nunchuck guy.
What the fuck was that? There's an old anime. You know what? I might have it here. That had
Oh,
a
that's
big
not.
titty ninja. I know
Yeah,
she's
that's every
in
anime, isn't
it.
it? Did you just say you saw this anime that had a big titty bitch in it?
Yeah.
That's like every. I don't even watch those though, but I know that.
so, so yeah, redundancy, but
No, I get what you're saying though. It was a big titty ninja.
yeah,
For real?
yeah, I can't even
Wow.
remember the name. Anyway, so so yeah, so are you excited at all for SC2?
Yes, you don't even have to ask. I know exactly. Yes, I am looking forward to it so much. And I don't care what anybody says. It's not like the old G's are all hyping it up because it's nostalgic. This game is a great fucking game. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about why us old players want to play it, but it just comes down to the fact that it's a great game. That's it. It's fun to play. There's a shit ton of moves. Wait till you see my freaking Voldo in this game. My goodness. I've been around for a while, and then basically what got me here was Soul Calibur 2 Voldo. That's what kept me around. How I was able to be so flexible with him. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of fun stuff with that game when you play it. There's so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great game.
I
That's why
I love
play
that
it.
game because it's actually a very simple reason. Like I feel that luckily Caliber hasn't done this too much, but I feel like games are sort of getting bloated with everything that you can do and like move lists and character cast lists and stuff. And SC2 was very simple. Like it's a very
Mhm.
simple to pick up game, and the complexity comes from the players. Like your characters are fairly straightforward with some exceptions, of course, but like for the most
Mhm.
part, it's very straightforward, very
Necrit.
simple to play. Yeah. Very simple to play. And it's just I'm much more a fan of the mind game than I am like
Mhm.
technical execution. Video games are going to have both, of course, and
Mhm.
you just kind of have to balance it. But I feel like certain games, like Street Fighter, is a great example. Like I feel like yes, the mind game is definitely there, but it's like so hard to get in technically wise, or like Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter is
Yeah.
a great example. Like
Yeah.
that game is bonkers with how good you have to be execution wise.
Mhm.
And I'm not a fan of that. Like
Yeah.
I understand having some sort of technical, you
No.
know,
Yeah.
but yeah,
My goodness, when you can play like that though, geez, you just mop the floor with everybody.
that's true. Yeah, it's very impressive to see people who are very good at games like that, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like
Me
overall,
either.
I feel like it kind of waters
That's
down.
why I kind of stopped playing Street Fighter. I went to Soul Calibur too, because I mean, like I started playing that stuff, and I went to Evolution, like 3 Evolutions before I even got into Soul Calibur,
Mhm.
playing Capcom versus SNK 1, SNK 2, and Marvel. Um, and this was before the internet was posting videos, so the Japanese players were coming over to compete, and that was the only time of the year that they did, and we didn't have videos of them to watch them play. So it's being there in person and then seeing all that, and there were a lot of Japanese players there too, and they were all phenomenal with their execution. Doing stuff that I would practice for hours and wasn't able to get, and they're consistently doing it like it's nothing. And that, it wasn't discouraging, but it was humbling. It showed me right away that I honestly I don't can't achieve that level of perfection that they do or they have when that I witnessed. I couldn't achieve that. So I kind of slowed down my competitive scene with that game after that. and was just playing Marvel 2 for fun. That's I was what is the word I'm thinking? I was, oh damn, I can't even think of it. Vulnerable, yeah. I was vulnerable when Soul Calibur 2 was around. So, uh, yeah, once that happened, that was a wrap. I totally dropped the other games, never played them much after that.
Nice.
I went right to Soul Calibur full time, and I love my friend Godspoo. He's the one that taught me how to play it. I ran into him at my first tournament for Soul Calibur at this mall, and for those guys who don't know Godspoo, he was a joystick modder nowadays, but back then he was part of Team Big, which was a dominating scene in North America with Spencer, who goes by Fetz,
Yep.
WC Maxi, and Godspoo. Um, and he was living in Orlando at the time, and I saw him at the first tournament I went to. I put him in the losers bracket, and then he came back in the losers bracket and mopped the floor with me. And after the tournament, I walked up to him. I'm like, hey, I can tell you know your shit about this game. I'm really interested in learning. Can you teach me what you know? Help me out. And he was like, yeah, sure. He's like, just let me know whenever. So we go down to Rockies and stuff. Or no, I mean that's where I was going all the time. But I hadn't heard a word from Godspoo, in like maybe 4 or 5 days after that. So I posted it up on the old Caliber forums, in the Florida thread saying, "Hey Godspoo, why don't you come down to the arcade tonight and teach me how to play?" I was like, I'll buy you some beers. And I'm like, not talking just one or two beers. I'm saying we'll leave the place stumbling, So he's like, fuck yeah. We came down, and him and his wife at the time, I was beer after beer after beer after game. I lost 30 in a row before they kicked us out. Told us that we had, we couldn't get any more beer and we had to go. And then afterwards, we got a 12 or a 24 pack and went back over to his place, and he hooked up his Dreamcast, and we started playing Soul Calibur 1, and he was teaching me some stuff in that game that applied over to Soul Calibur 2. So I mean, without him getting me involved in the scene with Spencer, like Fetz, he was good friends with Fetz, so Fetz came down for a while and trained with him. WC Max, he came down, brought his Soul Calibur 2 board, so we were able to play it at home on the freaking TV. He brought his developer's board with him, and we also had all the frame data too. So I mean, it was just an amazing time playing that game. I mean, and the scene is incredible. Like the community, people are so welcoming and appreciative for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just by watching you play, they get excited. It's amazing. I love the people here. That's another thing that's kept me around too, and I love helping everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because every scene is going to have their drama at times, but the Caliber community, and maybe it's just me, maybe I'm not as deeply as entrenched in it as other people, but it doesn't seem like it really goes too far. Like, so some people will hate on each other, whatever, it happens, but relative to like the drama, like MVC2, and Mortal Kombat, like it's nowhere near that level. So
right, they've done. I mean, like those scenes have done just about everything they can to ruin
to hate each other.
FGC's reputation as a whole. Yep. I mean, we're obviously lumped up into that. We've witnessed it. We saw it happen. We're a part of it. We can't deny that. They can say it happened in the Capcom side, but it reflects us as a whole. They said the fighting game community. That's us, So, I mean, regardless of 2D, 3D stuff, drama, yeah, and we're very tame compared to them for sure.
Yeah, which is nice.
I mean, Tekken can get pretty ugly, but those guys are more about humiliating you rather than,
yeah,
trashing you out.
Well, what's weird is like with the Tekken community, when there's beef, it's very much in relation to skill. Like everyone wants to be better than everyone else, whereas like in the 2D scene, like they fucking
Yeah.
hate you as a person. Like,
Right, and
what is going
it's
on?
based off of your opinion, not your skill
Yeah,
either.
it's
You
so
know, it's your
weird.
fucking opinion. Ugh, it's not like you suck. It's like, you don't like gays. Well, you're a racist. You know, like, man, that's the yeah.
Well, in any case, that's all I got. I don't know if you have any like special projects you're working on, or anything you want to
Mm,
promote, or
no,
like shout
I got.
outs. Like I'll give the mic to you, whatever you want to end it on.
Mm,
By all means.
oh, put me on the spot. I wasn't expecting that, but
Mm.
I mean, definitely shout outs to Voldo players, old school and new. You know, we got Aries, Manta, um, of the old school guys, and the new schools like McGee, Zoom, who I haven't seen around in a while. Slade has helped out immensely on the Voldo forums. He's done a lot of work on the wiki. Guy definitely deserves a lot of respect and props for all that he's done for this community. Um, and he doesn't go bragging about it either. He's very humble. So yeah, he definitely deserves all the respect in the world, for the work that he's done there. Really, I mean Jaxel, of course. Even though I don't know what's going on with him nowadays, but we wouldn't be where we're at without him. Um, and everybody that goes to tournaments too. The French players. Thanks for keeping the game interesting for us. And I love watching you guys play. Keep doing it, no matter what. I don't even have to tell you guys that. You know it already, but you know what I mean. It's fun.
It's weird or funny that you mentioned Jaxel, because I've never actually met him, but
I have several.
I hear, like, every once in a while I hear some people like talking bad about him, like they don't really like him or whatever. And I don't really care at this point, because he's a hella good like site developer. Like
Yeah.
like
He's a genius.
yeah, like whenever I think most of the comments I hear are like regarding his streaming or something. I don't know, but like he could be the shittiest person in the world, but that website is really good. Like, is like at the forefront of, like, not even a lot of people go to the site anymore, and he's still like keeping it top notch and everything. So yeah, hella props to that guy.
Well, yeah, he makes money off of that stuff. Like, other people buy it from him.
Yeah, so exactly. I mean, that's how good it is.
It's a great forum setup. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, that's all I got, man. So thanks, for coming on to the podcast and talking some Voldo with everyone.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun. We should do this again. You're easy to talk to.
Yeah, for sure. Once we only have a couple more characters left until we're done. And after that, I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I've thought about just doing interviews and such, because that's where it kind of started. But who knows? We'll see. But yeah, we'll definitely do some stuff. I'd like to at some point make it down south for a tournament. Like, I know CEO. Yeah, CEO is the big one.
Yeah, and Jabali's got he used to play Soul Calibur too, so I'm sure he'll be having that.
Oh, for sure.
As a main game at his tournament.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how it pans out, because I really think, like, even now, like, Calibur 2 is still like tops when it comes to
I'm not. Yeah, I agree.
So,
but listen here, what we really need to do. I don't know. I honestly haven't been paying attention to the community. I've been way too busy doing, real life stuff. I just got a promotion at my job tonight too. Been working really hard.
Nice.
Anyways, what the fuck was I saying?
I don't know. You started off by saying, "Listen here, this is what we need to do," and then
oh yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if anybody's been talking, but our Necrid and Heihachi and Spawn turning legal, or are they banned? Has anybody said anything about it? Or
well,
whatever.
To me, I haven't heard a huge discussion about it yet, but
I'm starting to ban Necrid.
Well, Necrid is the exception, because I believe he was on all the consoles, but I think that the reason that a lot of people want to try tournaments with Heihachi and Spawn, because they're going to be, it's only available for PS3. the
Right.
HD online. So
Yeah,
in the
so everybody's gonna have access
yeah,
to them.
so in
I
the
understand that,
yeah.
but these guys don't belong in Soul Calibur.
But I think that
Todd McFarlane know dick about fighting games. Seth, whatever the fuck his name is.
But I think that's like the main point is that people want to try it just to see it, because like the ban when SC2 was first out was mostly because they were on different consoles, so it was hard. Yeah, you just couldn't do it. But
but they're broke.
they're broke. Yeah, I remember playing
Heihachi's freaking health sweeps. You can just frame them.
Yeah.
And they don't stop.
I'm kind of sad that we don't get Link, because he was a great troll character. He was such a good troll character, but
yeah,
good old Nintendo, you know, can't support, you know, games on other systems.
In a perfect world, you know, but
cool. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot again for coming on. Thank you everyone for hanging around and listening to it. And yeah, like I said, we only got a few characters left, so we're getting very, very, very close to being done. And if anybody has any suggestions for what to do once we're done with the characters, by all means, throw them out. But otherwise, yeah, thank you for listening, and we will catch you guys next time. Later.